What's up, all? My name is Kerry Gruzy. Probably knows me by Gruzy online. A lot of people are interested in getting some sound bites on this. One of my first builds that I got from the Doberman products. This is the SEL. Probably I think it's their highest gain kit that they have. The 20-watt KT88 kit. Just gonna wanted to demo it, let people hear it sound, and basically talk about some of the things that I've changed on it. Not a whole lot, mainly the effects loop that I added, which I pretty much put on all my builds just because I just like a little bit of extra reverb and some sparkle on it and a little bit of front end compression. And really I didn't mess with the EQ on this one so much. I kind of changed a couple things on the cathode follower. But other than that, it's pretty much almost as a schematic is. Been a really good amp. Good clean. It cleans up very nicely, and it does have a lot of gain to it. I would probably put it up there in the hard rock, probably realms, maybe pushing in a little bit of metal, but just not really with a full metal kind of sound that you would get. It's kind of hard to get clean and a full shred sound out of it. Just what I'm running right now, how I have it set up is it's basically I have the effects loop plugged in, but it's a full bypass effects loop. So right now it's just basically running through the head. So it hopefully make all the all-tube audiophiles out there happy because there's no solid state in here yet, in the signal chain at least. I'm running it through just a 412 cabinet, G1275 Celestians, and I use a GSP 1101 processor in a 4-wire setup. For those who are not familiar with that, it allows you to use an effects processor and be able to put the preamp of your head in between the effects. For example, it allows you to run stuff like compression and volume and stuff like that in front of the preamp, and then let you add reverb, flanger, chorus, and all your post modulation effects afterwards. And it actually incorporates that in the processor. So you just have one processor and you can hit a button in any kind of configuration. Plus, it also allows you to run the processor, the preamps that come with the processor itself, which I use for more of my heavier rhythm sounds. But for right now, I got it pretty much set on a pretty good clean sound. I'm going to play a couple things to give a little good idea of them. It's pretty good. The only thing that I could probably, again, it's single channel, so you really can't get a lot of diversity in the EQ from distortion to clean channel, because once you start getting into the distortion, the bass definitely starts to come out, where when you bring it back on the clean channel, as you see, I got the bass pretty much all the way up. And at least into my ears, it still sounds a little thin, especially with 412s. But that's probably something I'll change. I'll probably pull that out. Instead of a 500K pot that they have, I'll probably fatten it up to probably maybe a meg and change that capacitor from, I think it's a 22 nanofarad, and I might beef it up to like maybe 100 nanofarad or something like that. Give it a little bit more low end to come out of that back. But here's the sound of it. Pretty much almost full volume on the guitar, just a little bit rolled off. Off on the volume here. So the clean's pretty good. It's got really good volume control. I use EMGs, which probably most people, I think they're in a type of amp like this, will use more of a passive pickup. I like EMGs a little bit better because the volume, it's really, a volume knob actually works really as a volume knob with EMGs, where a passive, most of you know, once you increase the volume, you're actually changing the resonant frequency of the pickups because of the pot is in series with non-only tone and everything else. So it basically keeps the same frequency response at almost no volume or not. And for rock and metal, that's kind of really important for me. Definitely don't want to have any kind of high frequency roll off with active pickups that are wound probably anything less than like 12K or something like that. But it does respond well. I can bring the gain up a little bit. on both, and probably bring the volume back about halfway and still get a good clean sound, and then have some breakup. And then full volume, it should start breaking up pretty good. Obviously cranking it up a bit definitely is where this bad boy is going to start. I pretty much put the drive all the way up and the gain about 3/4, so you know, you can get it all the way up. It just gets a little kind of loud and out of control, but definitely has a lot of good low end. So pretty good crunch. Still a bit to be wanting for me, at least in metal wise, but definitely can pull some good AC/DC tones out of it. Guns N' Roses probably, and then of course if we want to go with the processor, we can do it a little differently. So now what I'm gonna do is, I think what most people are probably gonna be interested in is I'm gonna actually switch the effects loop in and then run the processor with the effects that I have. And so people can get a good idea of the sound, the difference, and, well, the volume change as well. So now the first thing you probably heard is all that fuzz and stuff went away. I have an ISP in the effects loop, a noise gate, and I got it set just to where just basically it's dead quiet. And I love, to me, I've just gotten used to it. It's a really good noise gate. Really no tone effects whatsoever. It's got a good trigger on the pickups. And again, it just makes it pretty much dead silent. So that's about all I get right there. Now, one of the things that most people you'll notice is there is a bit of a volume drop. That's really an impedance issue. Solid states obviously are not going to really deal with as high of impedance as the tubes are. The grids being almost infinite if you got it set up right. I think these things are probably, I think they said you're probably going to see about a 200 to 250K input impedance on the first cathode follower of the effects loop, and this is actually set up where you can actually control the levels. I have them jumpered, which means it's maximum. So it's, I think it was 12 dB of attenuation on the cathode follower to bring it down for the effects level for line level, and then it's a 16 dB return. So not really quite enough to get it back with the impedance loss, but definitely still much to work with. I can add a lot more in the processor, but you start pretty much overdriving the power amp stage when you start doing that because of that volume. But this right here sound is basically my lead tone, and it's still going through the preamp, and I got a little bit of compression on front, with some reverb and some delay on the back side just to kind of fill out the notes. And it definitely is, for the style of music that I play, has been what I would definitely like to hear. It's not as gritty, it's not as brittle, it's much smoother. It definitely helps accentuate faster playing with the pick attack and stuff like that. So give you a little bit of shot of that. And that's with the effects in with the front end of it. This is also all solid state in my rhythm. You can definitely tell the different sounds that we have with solid state and tube. And that's pretty much it for this one. Again, I'm going to make a couple modifications on putting those grid stoppers on there to help keep a lot of that kind of crackle that's going on. I definitely get some RF. It just, I don't know, at least in my experience, I mean, I've been doing it forever, but it's kind of standard practice to pretty much put grid stoppers on. And when I got this kit, I was a little curious on why they were pretty much left out. But again, you know, everybody's got their own designs. And, you know, for the most part, it is a good sounding little amp. My other amp, which is down here, which is pretty much kind of similar to this, it's a whole different preamp. It's loosely kind of based off Merlin's ultra high gain amp with obviously some of my own inputs and modifications, sending the output before the EQ followed by a cathode follower. And it also has the effects, so definitely a lot more gain on top, almost no clean potential whatsoever. That's this little guy down here. I'll give you a little quick show of it. That is this one right here, and I just made the cabinet, still prototype on the frame, but I'm getting a lot better on my woodwork. This one definitely didn't come out as dark as that one, but I love just the wood grain and how this stuff looks. It's just really awesome. Definitely beefed up on the back side. It's still a KT88. I've used the big GSE 25 watt output transformer, and I think I used 270HX on the power supply, and I got a little choke on the input filter, and this one has the effects too. Plus I also installed a DC heater circuit for this one to power the first two tubes minus the cathode follower, which obviously you can't do it because we need heater elevation for those voltages. But this one I'm gotten front panels designed for too. I got these front panels done. They're close, but I'm not happy with them. One of the numbers that come out a little bit more, but she definitely made improvements for this one, and they should be done probably next week or so. But once I have that one done, I'll probably go ahead and post another video of this one, which is a more, it's just over the top distortion. I mean, it basically makes a Marshall sound like a Fender Bassman pretty much. Yeah, I'll post that one pretty soon. Anybody got any questions on some stuff like that on this one or whatnot? Shit, I'm always listening. So thanks for listening, guys, and have fun.